Hi there and welcome to the Shoo Rayner drawing channel on YouTube. And today I'm going to show you how to draw a Christmas wreath. But let's not talk about it. Let's do it. So if you want to draw a Christmas wreath, there's the middle, there we are, right there. You want to draw a circle. Of course you could get something circular, I suppose, couldn't you, and kind of draw around it. And it's sticky. Anyway, you can get something circular and stick around it. That would be much easier. So you make a circle. Is that fitting in? Yeah. And then you want a circle on the inside as well. And make that kind of equal all the way around. So it's kind of a life belt shape. And then I think you want to fit the words in first. And I'm going to put... Now, I'm going to do this in kind of bubble writing. And if you've not seen me do this before, I've got another video. Shows you how to do bubble writing. I'll put a link up here. Okay, and then I think we're going to start Christmas round about here. C-H-R-I-S-T-M-A-S, and then we're going to have some kind of something here. So I'm going to have kind of fir cones and baubles like that. Okay. So what I'm going to start off doing is go around the outside of those letters like that, and then that will give you bubble writing. Okay. So I tried this different type styles and things, and I think it's best to do it simple. I've decided to try and keep this one really simple. That must be a bit fatter there, I think, Mary, and all around it. I know as Christmas goes on, it gets closer, and I keep doing these Christmas videos, I kind of become more and more aware that YouTube is a very international audience, and you're probably starting to get bored with my Christmas videos and wanting me to get on and do something else if you don't celebrate Christmas, which of course not all the world does. Rachel K0413 made a comment on my how to draw mistletoe yesterday and saying, could I draw something for Hanukkah? And well, I suppose I could. I know absolutely nothing about Hanukkah. I kind of put it into Google and the kind of 7-bar thing comes up, so maybe someone will tell me more about Hanukkah, or maybe, have I missed it? I don't know. I've just been so busy I haven't had time to research it. Maybe somebody will tell me what I should draw. And so I want to kind of draw things for everybody on here, so I don't see why I can't draw something. And I'm going to make those as kind of Christmas baubles here. But here in Britain where I live, then, you know, we have go crazy. You know, last 2 months of the year just becomes Christmas. So up until the 25th of December, it gets more and more Christmassy. Lights turn on. Have you seen my? I'll put a little link here as well. Go and see my video about the Colford Christmas lights in the town where I live, and that will kind of give you a flavour of what we do in this country, because you might be living on a beautiful lagoon in the Pacific, which would be lovely because it's freezing cold and rain and hail outside. We've got a storm outside my shed at the moment. Right, what are we going to do? I'm going to do this kind of zigzag. It's kind of like a one of those circular saw blade. Okay, and then we need to do kind of the same on the inside. It's a little bit harder, and that's kind of sticking out. So this is kind of planning it ahead, so it sticks out like that. And what you're going to want to do is to kind of go like this. It's kind of almost like plaiting. So if you kind of plan this, okay, so one there, then one there, one there. So this is just kind of planning ahead for when we start doing the drawing. And then I'm going to try and keep the painting part really simple today. and then that should come up there, and that will come there. That looks about right. Okay, I'm going to ink in the number. This is number 3. I'm going to ink in the lettering, and yeah, and of course, even the countries that do celebrate Christmas, then will have totally different traditions. And so here we have Santa Claus, which I think he always used to be called Father Christmas here, actually, and I think we kind of absorb a lot of American traditions, so we've kind of, Father Christmas has really turned into Santa Claus now. He's called here mostly, or just Santa. Merry. And there's a friend of mine, Yuri, I've forgotten what his channel name is, Yuri something. Anyway, he'll make a comment probably. He lives in Holland, and he made a video recently. I'll put a little link, and about St. Nicholas. So they have St. Nicholas in Holland, and he's kind of wears like a bishop's outfit rather than the Santa robe, but he's kind of similar kind of character. So everybody has different traditions, and I don't think we used to have that many Christmas wreaths on doors, and I don't know. I don't remember them so much when I was young, and I think it's again. I think we kind of got it from America quite a lot. We pick up quite a lot from the States in this country. And so I put those 2 like that, and those are going to be I tell you what, let's put little kind of ribbons sticking out the side as well. So those are going to be sort of Christmas baubles. Now these are going to be fir cones, so you want to just kind of slightly wiggle around the edge like that. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. People seem to like it when they say wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. I get lots of comments when I do, but I don't know how else to describe a wiggly line but then to go wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And then do your fir cone like this. The curving lines, put little dots in the middle as well, that might help. In the middle of the spaces, which kind of makes them look a bit like pineapples, I suppose. But that's why they're called pineapples, because they look like pine cones. Yeah, of course. Yeah. And although they looked like pineapples before, oh, never mind. And now what we want to do is, following these kind of lines, you want to get this kind of scribbly. So this is kind of, I'm assuming this is kind of like Christmas tree branch stuff. And you want to get it quite wiggly and scratchy underneath. Like that. And following the lines that you've drawn in underneath, and you should be able to go all the way around and meet up at the top. Like that. I might speed this last bit up. Okay, and then you want to put some shadow in around the lettering, and then that will help it stand out. So assume the light's kind of coming this way, and then that will just kind of help to make the lettering stand out. You could do it with paint at the end by putting a darker shade of paint in, but I'm going to try and do this as simply as possible. So if you kind of get this in as shading beforehand, then it should stand out. And we're going to want some shading around there as well. Maybe put a little curve in there like that. And we could maybe kind of shade up the side of these pineapples too. Right, let's put some shading in there. Like that. And then we got to put shading in around the word Christmas. How are we doing for time? Oh, goodness me. These things always take longer than I think they're going to. So have I told you about my other channel, Shoo Rayner Life channel? Shall I put a link there now? And I've been challenged this month of December to do an iPhone vlog every day, which means I have to film on my iPhone, edit on my iPhone, and upload it on my iPhone, which is quite tricky. I'm getting quite good at editing on an iPhone now, which is very fiddly, but it's quite interesting, and you can be quite creative, surprisingly. And I get very frustrated. There are all sorts of things I'd like it to be able to do on there, but I can't. And I think we want a bit more scratchiness around there. And you can go and see what I'm up to day by day on there if you want. I just put kind of thoughts for the day, or if I'm doing something strange that day. Right, I'm going to hope that that's kind of got it. Now, what I might do, because the light is going in that direction, so what I might do is put some extra shading on this side of the wreath, like that, and that will kind of fade out there. We want some there, and then it will pick up onto this side because the light's sort of coming this way, so you'll get some extra shading on this side here. And this is just kind of scribbling in up the side, really. It's nothing terribly clever. And that will kind of fade out around about there. I was going to say vacuum clean it, now I'm going to hit it with my hairdryer so that it makes sure it's dry before I erase the pencil marks, because it makes a real mess. If it's not dry, it'll smear all over the place. Okay, I'm going to paint the letters first, and what I'm going to do is, now the light's coming from the bottom, so I'm going to leave a little bit there, in the bottom there, and where the light is shining, just leave a little bit, and that will make it look shiny. So we're going to want to do that kind of down there, I think, like that, and probably a bit there, something like that. And again, we want it down there, and we want it down there, and we want it round there. So if you're not sure about watercolour, I'm starting a watercolour series, so again, click this link, you'll get to that. And somebody said, why do I choose watercolour? Well, it's just really simple for a start. It dries very quickly, and oil paint just takes forever to dry, and it's not very good for being a professional illustrator, so you've got to get your work done on time. And you could use acrylic, some people do, but acrylic is paint, you're painting with acrylics, whereas with watercolour you're really drawing. You're drawing the brush across the paper, whereas paint, with acrylic paint, then you're painting with it, you're actually putting paint on the paper, so it's a very hard thing to explain. And there is a difference between, so watercolour is kind of you're drawing with colour, and paint you're painting with colour, and it's a different way of thinking. And I know some people, they get it in their heads that watercolours kind of, that's what you do for kids, and they think, oh, that's, you're not a proper artist until you start using oil paint. Well, that's not the way it is. It's just the ones with oil paint are the ones that tend to make money for some reason. But you'll find a lot of oil painters, they won't dare touch watercolour because they find it too difficult. And watercolour requires a lot more skill than just slapping on some paint. Well, actually, yeah, I don't know. I think watercolour actually is a higher skill level, but whatever it comes down to, in the end, it kind of comes down to artistic merit and temperament, doesn't it? I suppose, whoever's doing it. So I'm just kind of adding a bit extra to. This is slightly darker. This red that I'm adding. This is crimson. I put vermilion on first. This is crimson, and it's just kind of giving the shadowy, which I think I'm actually putting on the wrong side altogether. So I'm it's probably completely incorrect where all the shadows are, but it's gives you an idea. I don't know. A lot of the time I just do it by what feels right at the time, and maybe it's not technically right, but somehow it looks right in the end. Hang on. Paintbrush. Okay, I'm gonna make these kind of golden baubles. So leave a splodge of white up in the top there, kind of around about 1 o'clock, like that. And then you get a little bit of burnt sienna. This is, and I'm just gonna curl that around the white area and just let it bleed into the rest of it, and hopefully that will give a kind of a shiny effect. And I use burnt sienna on the rest of the pine cone like that. And I keep saying, because I think it's worth saying again and again, the thing about watercolour is, when you put paint on with like oil paint or acrylic or something like that, poster paints, then you put thick paint on, you are applying colour to the surface, and the light and the colour comes from the paint. With watercolour, the light comes from the white of the paper, and it shines through these thin watery layers that you put on the top. Okay, and that's kind of the essential difference. All the light in oil painting comes from the paint. All the light in a watercolour comes from the paper, just shining through. Okay, I'm going to do this incredibly simply. I'm just going to kind of put a splodge of green on, and just make it kind of wiggly on the edge again. Like that. And also I think, yeah, maybe you last did watercolours when you were 5, and when you were 5 you were probably obsessed with, not going over the lines, and don't worry about going over the lines, because sometimes it looks nicer for doing that. It kind of adds an immediacy to it. That's the thing. I think the thing I like about watercolour is that it's kind of immediate, and oil paint you can scrape off and redo all the time, and think and rebuild and repaint, whereas watercolour you've got one chance, and generally the faster you do it, the better, because the faster you do it, you're kind of using your instincts to paint, and it's that's when interesting things happen. That's when becomes good to look at, if that makes any sense. So I think if you do something along these lines, I would take a little bit longer if I was you. But you'll get, in the end, just coming up, nearly getting there, you'll get a design for a Christmas wreath, and you can, I don't know, colour photocopy it, or just stick it on the wall. You can make this 3 foot high if you want, or what's that, 1 metre high, something, you know, however high you want it. You can kind of flick those edges a bit, make it a bit more interesting like that. And then flick them inside as well, just to make it look more interesting. There we go. Oh, let me get that right in the middle. Good. And there you go. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, and if you did, keep going back to the Shoo Rayner drawing channel on YouTube. And in the meantime, have a very happy Christmas if you celebrate Christmas, and very happy Hanukkah, everything else that you celebrate this time of year. Chinese New Year, I might do things coming up, Chinese New Year. And keep drawing. Practice. And I'll see you next time. You take care now. Bye bye.